Good afternoon and welcome to Future Ready, your transition to employment programme. This is a bite-sized webinar series designed to support newly qualifying healthcare learners to transition confidently into employment. There are 6 webinars in total. As I said, they're all going to be recorded and stored on the East of England Multi-Professional Learner app. If you haven't already accessed this, there will be an opportunity to download the QR code at the end of this webinar. There's lots of useful tools, and electronic copies of this presentation will also be stored on there. So this is workshop 6, the final in our series, and it's really about what happens after I qualify. I'm joined today by a panel of colleagues. We have Wendy Fowler here, Nursing Education Advisor, professional practice from the Nursing and Midwifery Council. Welcome, Wendy. Ian Spink, Professional Liaison Consultant from the Health and Care Professions Council. Welcome, Ian. Lorna Males, Head of Students and the RCN King's Nursing RCN Institute of Nursing Excellence. Welcome, Lorna. And my colleague, Debbie Cubitt, Senior Workforce Training and Education, NHS England, East of England. So without further ado, I'm now going to hand over to Wendy Fowler from the Nursing and Midwifery Council. Thank you very much, Wendy.
Hello, and thank you for agreeing to drive the slides for me. So hello, next slide, please. My name's Wendy Fowler. I'm a Nursing Education Advisor at the Nursing and Midwifery Council. I am a registered nurse. Not everyone who works at the NMC is a registrant, but I am, and I work in professional practice, which is very forward-facing, and we do things like the code and revalidation reviews, which are happening currently, and look at education standards and so on. So there's me in my last NHS role at the Lister Hospital with a student nurse. I was pre-registration education lead nurse. So my background is as a orthopaedic and trauma nursing and practice education. And she's wearing a vintage nurses uniform because it's we were celebrating International Nurses Day. That is my old uniform, so I'm not sure how I feel about that being described as vintage. Next slide, please. There we go. What I'm going to talk about, I'm going to talk about the role of the NMC. I think it's really important to understand what your regulator does and doesn't do, and how to register with us when your program's complete, and revalidation. And then we've got kind of a pause, and I'll let you think about and reflect about any questions you might have for me. You can either pop them in the chat or you can ask them towards the end of the whole session today. And I'm also going to provide you with some information about the code and revalidation reviews, because it's me, and of course I'm going to, because that's become my world quite recently, and I've asked for that to be sent out by email to you. Next slide, please. So we have these 3 key roles here at the NMC, which regulate, support and influence. Regulate is the most important. We're the gatekeepers of the profession, and so regulation is that core role. To make sure we do this well, we need to support the professions and the public. Our prime role is public protection, but we do this by ensuring that registered nurses, midwives and nursing associates on our register have the tools to practice safely. And we also do share our intelligence with other agencies that are involved with workforce planning, sector-wide decision making, and really sort of share our knowledge and skills in that way. Next slide, please. All what we do, there it is on one slide. So starting on the bottom left-hand corner in that purple circle, is around standards. Standards are absolutely key to what we do, and it occupies quite a lot of my world, particularly at the NMC. So we set standards for education, we set programs, programme standards and we set proficiencies to make sure that when nurses, midwives and nursing associates qualify and are on the register, they have the skills and knowledge to deliver safe and effective care. And that's assessed both at university work and in practice by other registrants. We don't set curriculum. What we do instead is approve and quality assure programmes of nursing and midwifery education. But those are designed based on our standards. The curriculum designed by universities, we then approve those programmes and quality assure them and monitor them going forward. So each programme might feel slightly different because our programmes are outcome focused. And as long as they meet the outcomes in our standards, that's okay. So that explains why some student colleagues here may meet students from different universities following the same programme who do things slightly differently. And that's okay, so long as it meets our outcomes. We maintain the register of professionals who are eligible and fit to practice. Maintaining the integrity of the register is definitely a prime function of ours. So making sure the right people are on the register. So whilst I'm speaking, just pop in the chat what percentage you think of nurses, midwives and nursing associates come to the attention of fitness to practice. So maintaining the register of professionals means that people on our register are people who have followed one of our approved programmes or entered our register from overseas following our approved steps. We also promote lifelong learning through revalidation to, again, making sure the right people are on the register. Any guesses on the percentage of registrants who come to the attention? Ian Spink, fewer than 1%. Anyone else? Want to have a guess? 5%. Debbie says 2%. Higher or lower? It turns into a higher or lower. Actually, Ian, you're absolutely right. It's fewer than 1% of nurses, midwives and nursing associates come to the attention of fitness to practice, which when we think about the number of registrants on our register, how many nurses, midwives and nursing associates there are, it feels like more. 1.2% of the UK population is a nurse, midwife or nursing associate. I live in a small village. We're not big enough for a shop or a pub. I think at the last count there were 8 nurses. And that's not unrepresented, representative. So that's why it feels like more. Next slide, please. Here we are, incredibly busy slide. Don't worry, this will be sent to you. But this essentially tells you the process of what to do when you've completed your registration and it is completed your programme. It's really straightforward. Your university will inform us that you've completed your programme and that you are a fit and proper person to go onto the register. We then put you on the register. You say, yes, please, and pay your registration fee. The only time this takes a little longer is if we've got some more questions that we need to ask. And you'll be notified by email. Do make sure that this email doesn't go to the junk. So do check your junk folders because it might be an email that your email system's never seen before and quite rightly says, don't understand, I think this might be junk. And we will send that out. Next slide, please. Our revalidation requirements are for you to start considering from the point you're on the register, of which you need 450 practice hours for each of your registrations, not each of your fields. If you have more than one field, if for instance you've studied mental health and adult nursing, that is 2 fields, not 2 registrations. You do pay to have the additional field on your registration, but when you revalidate, you only revalidate for that one registration. If you have been a nursing associate previously, you can decide whether to maintain your nursing associate registration. If you do that, you do need to submit 900 hours of practice, 450 per registration, and that 450 for nursing associate, that has to be in nursing associate practice. A lot of people do decide that's hard, and that's okay. It's okay to just maintain your registered nurse registration, still be proud of your nursing associate work, put the certificate on the wall, put your graduation picture on the wall, be proud of it, but you don't have to maintain it as a registration. Just let us know your plans. 35 hours of CPD, 20 hours must be participatory with others, 5 pieces of practice-related feedback, and 5 written reflective accounts, followed by reflective discussion with another registrant, and then your manager can confirm that all of that has happened. If your manager's a registrant, they can do the reflective discussion as well, but it doesn't have to be them. And you then declare you've got good health and character, and you have professional indemnity arrangements, and that's confirmed by all but confirmed by your confirmer. I know that's a lot in about less than a minute. Please just get to Google and say NMC revalidation, and read the how to revalidate booklet. Everything is there. Do sign up for newsletters to keep in touch. Really important. The link is there, or you could just Google NMC newsletters and choose which ones to sign up to. And finally, the information that I'm going to send you, including in the presentation, is around our code and revalidation reviews, which are happening at the moment. We also have a practice learning review, so please respond to that as well. And I'm going to hand over now to Ian, who is my colleague from the Health and Care Professionals Council, who's the regulator for health and care professionals. And again, like me, their prime role is to protect the public. Ian, over to you.
Great, thank you very much, Wendy. That was really great to see your presentation, and thank you for your introduction. Yes, my name's Ian. I do indeed work for the Health and Care Professions Council as a professional liaison consultant. So I'm part of a team, Professional Liaison Service, which are an outreach team providing education and training sessions to our registrants, typically via employers of our registrants. But I'm also, like Wendy was saying in regard to nursing, I'm an HCPC registrant as well as a music therapist. I'm not practicing so much as a music therapist at the moment, still registered because this is now my full-time job. So in terms of today's session, a bit of an introduction to the HCPC, a reminder of our role and functions, a bit about HCPC standards, what they mean to you as a student and what they mean once you're registered, a chunk about registration with the HCPC, and a few bits about staying connected with us as well. So the HCPC was established by an Act of Parliament back in 2001, the Health Professions Order, and that very much established our duties and our regulatory function, and the overriding one is protection of the public. Promote and maintain the health, safety and well-being of the public, also to promote and maintain public confidence in the professions that we regulate, and also to promote and maintain those professional standards as well. And we have a large number of registrants on our registry, on our register, very diverse professions, 15, broadly speaking, different professions. And in terms of those regulatory functions, the ones on the top left-hand box there are the ones that you probably most readily associate with us, that we maintain and publish a register, that we set the appropriate standards for our professionals. We also quality assure the education training programs. And we can take action to protect the public. So that's commonly known as the fitness to practice process. Anyone can raise a concern about anybody on our register. So that includes any member of the public. Typically our referrals may come from employers. They also come from registrants themselves, so self-referral. This slide also shows our broader sort of remit and objectives, particularly around preventative action. So we're looking to work much more closely with our registrants, using our data, developing insights, so particularly like insights from fitness to practice data, for example, that might help lead and target our work, especially the work that our team does as outreach work. Looking at perhaps where the concerns are coming from, which professions, what do the concerns relate to, etc. I always really enjoy this slide when I share it. I like it because it shows all of those different professions that are regulated by us. It's a summary of the register, so it shows the overall total. It's as of May this year, so the numbers will go up and down depending on people coming onto the register and maybe people leaving the register. So have a look for your profession if you're on the call today and you're one of these professions, and you can see the percentage of the register and then the actual number of professions of that registrants of that profession. Also, to flag up the HCPC data hub, so that QR code will take you to the hub. It's a really good resource if you ever need any data about the HCPC. This is like a snapshot. You can go in and find more demographic information as well, things like fitness to practice data as well, all sorts of stuff. So I wanted to share that with you as well. So a little bit about the standards then. Standards of proficiency. So these are the standards. If you've done an approved training course of one of our professions, by the end of your training, you'll have met all of these standards because they're aligned to the competencies that you achieve through all your placements, through your assignments. So we know by the end of your course that you have the skills and knowledge in order to practice your profession to come onto the register. And then we, or you as registrants, need to update and keep that knowledge and skills up to date as you go through your career. The other set of standards of conduct, performance and ethics. So in red there's a set that are kind of in purple which will apply to you as students. So we do like a student version of this, because when you qualify and register with us, we can say you must do these things. When you're a student, we say you should do these things. So it's preparing you for it, really. They set out in general terms how we should, as registrants, conduct and behave. They also serve to outline to the public what to expect of our registrants. They are used to make decisions about who comes onto the register, and they are used if a concern is raised and it goes through that fitness to practice process. They are used to help assess those concerns as well. But much more than that, they are an ethical framework for practice. They're a guide, they're a means of support. I can think of several occasions in my career where I've referred to the standards to help me make decisions, professional decisions, clinical practice type decisions. So that's what they're there for, as a framework for practice. There's a final set of standards that apply to you as an HCPC registrant, and that's the standards for CPD, continuing professional development. The first one tells us we must keep a log, as a registrant must keep a log of all your activities. They must be a mixture of different learning activities as well, and they should be about your current practice or future practice. They must contribute to the quality of practice for your service delivery, and they must be of benefit to the service user. And the final standard is often referred to as the CPD audit. So upon request, you have to present a written profile and evidence of what you've done over the last 2 years. It's always about the registration cycle, which is for 2 years. So it's 2.5% of your profession will be selected for the audit. When you first register with us, you won't be selected. When you re-register, you won't be selected, because it has to be after 2 years of practice. But these are our standards, and if I would say, if you're meeting standards 1 to 4 and standard 5, the audit, you are asked to do that, then if you've been meeting all those other standards, you're well prepared really to respond to the audit, and there's lots of resources about how to complete the audit. There's examples from your professions as well, and the QR code will take you to those. So registration of the HCPC then. The process is all done online. You can get very familiar with the process by reading up on it. QR code will take you to that. It'll tell you about the various requirements, any documents that you need to provide, etc. Get familiar with the standards again, or re-familiarise yourself with the standards. And it's about getting your application ready, so when you've received that notification, you can send it off. Again, like Wendy was saying, with registering as with the NMC, yeah, use a personal email address or one that you're going to use for the future. Don't use a temporary one like your university one, because you might miss re-registration in particular. Once the application's been started, it will be automatically saved, and you can return to it, get it ready, so that when you've got that confirmation from your university, you can send it off. The fees, so it is reduced by 50% if you've completed a UK approved programme within the last 2 years. So the half price fee is in red there for newly registered, 123.34, equates to 61.67 a year. There is a one-off fee on top of that, which you never have to pay again. So it's a fee plus that number the first time. So when you re-register, it would be double that. So I renewed recently. So it would have been 246.68. That's for 2 years. You can stagger the payments. You can pay them off monthly or quarterly, whatever suits you best. Applications are usually processed within 10 working days. The time might vary depending on the volume of applications, but also if we need to do any follow-up inquiries with you, that might delay it as well. Just a summary then: set up that online account. You can, some of you may have done this already, but you can do it tomorrow, but don't send it off until you've got that confirmation. Look about getting your documents certified if you need to, and again, the guidance will explain to you whether you need to do that or not. Get familiar with the standards. You will be asked certain declaration questions, and again, that's all there in the information. Get familiar with those and be ready for that, and check your professional indemnity. You'll be asked a question whether you have it. You can tick that box if you have. If you don't have it, it'll be about demonstrating that you know you have to have it when you practice. It doesn't stop you from registering if you don't have it. And so just staying connected with us then. Student Hub, great source. You can find out about all sorts of information, including registration through the Student Hub. I wanted to let you know about this. It's new pages that we have about discrimination in the workplace, but also in education settings for anyone that's experiencing discrimination of different types. So I wanted you to be aware of that. This is just a sample of some of the videos we have on our YouTube channel. Lots of different topics, really good source of CPD. Finally, you can keep in touch with us, please do. You can contact me through the professional liaison inbox. Registration team, really valuable email address for you when you register, and we're on the usual social media channels as well. Thank you very much for listening. Wishing you all the very best for the future. And now I'm going to hand on to Lorna from the Royal College of Nursing, who's going to talk to you. So thank you very much. I'll stop sharing.
Thanks, Ian. Right, my slides are just coming. Hopefully you can see those now. Good. So hi, my name's Lorna Mayles. I am the UK Head of Students and the King's Nursing Cadet Programme at the Royal College of Nursing. And I'm here to talk to you today about the role of the RCN as a professional body and a trade union. So who is the RCN? So we're the world's largest nursing trade union and professional body. We started back in 1916 as the College of Nursing, which was a professional organisation with just 34 members. And since then we've evolved significantly. We're still based in the original building in Cavendish Square in London, and you are welcome to come and visit us there. The library is open to the public. We represent over 500,000 nurses, student nurses, midwives and nursing support workers in the UK. And our expertise covers all areas of nursing and in all settings where nursing is present. So everything from clinical practice to policy, workforce and employment relations, which puts us in a really unique position to support our members across a vast range of professional, personal and legal issues. So I wanted to start here with workplace support once you qualify as a nurse. So there's lots of resources available to our student nurses, but actually as we think about you moving into the workforce, this was a great place to start. So we have advice guides where you can access information on a range of different topics. The QR code takes you straight there, and actually it's worth bookmarking that as a page so that you can refer back to it. Our advice guides are all in alphabetical order, but there's a search function there. And just as an example, there's a good advice guide in there about contracts. So when you get that first contract through for your new job, there's a handy 10-point checklist of things to ensure before you sign that document. Because that's the first point where it can feel really quite overwhelming when you're signing a new contract. So worth exploring that page, scan the QR code and it takes you straight there. Next up is our starting out guide. So this is specifically designed for students and newly registered nurses. It's a really good resource. It has access to our Nursing Essentials crib cards. So if you've been a student member, you might have a pocket guide that you can keep in your pocket on placement that gives you all those nursing essentials. They're in digital format on our starting out guide, so you can access them there, along with our preceptorship handbook and lots more useful information for you too. A few other things that will support you throughout your journey. So we've got a range of learning resources, which I'll talk on the next slide. We also have a careers service. So if you need support, refining your CV or some interview practice or coaching, that's all available for our members. We encourage our members to be active and organised. So if you've got an interest or a campaign you're interested in, then your voice really matters and we will support you to do more with that and direct that into something really meaningful. We've got free confidential counselling available to our members, a range of member discount services and our support services. So we've got a phone number and an email address that members can contact 365 days a year for support. Whatever it is you're facing, there'll be somebody at the end of the phone that can talk you through the next steps. So in terms of learning resources, RCN Learn is a big part of what we offer our members. And when people join the RCN, quite often they see us as that insurance policy, we're a backup, we're there if anything goes wrong. But actually what we have is professional resources that will support you throughout your career. So Wendy touched a little bit on revalidation, and there's the portfolio opportunity on RCN Learn, which will support you with that. So RCN Learn hosts a wide variety of evidence-based, quality-assured resources, and they'll help develop your knowledge, skills, and understanding. So maybe you're going to work in a new specialty and want to learn more about that specialty, or maybe you've got a particular interest and you just want to know more. All the resources are on there and you can search for whatever it is you're looking for. The portfolio feature on RCN Learn will be your best friend when it comes to revalidation. It's a single place to store all of your evidence so that when that 3 years rolls around, which it does very quickly, it's all ready to go. And each of the NMC's requirements for revalidation has its own section. So it makes it really easy to upload your evidence and amend your work as you go along. You're then able to download it in PDF format at the end. So it's already there. There's also a non-registrant version too. So if you've got friends who are nursing support workers or still students, then they can use the non-registrant version and it just gets you used to keeping all your CPD and learning in one place. And that's all included within your membership at the RCN. So as we think about moving forwards, there are different ways you can get involved. So if you've been a member and not really been involved, I'm going to tell you a few ways in which you can. But as a registrant, one of the biggest ways to get involved is by becoming a rep. So becoming a rep gives you the chance to make a real difference to your patients, the working lives of yourselves and your colleagues, and even the future of nursing. So if you're an RCN member and a registered nurse, nursing associate, nursing support worker, or a healthcare assistant, you can apply to become an RCN learning rep, a health and safety rep, or a steward. You'll get support from a community of like-minded people and RCN staff, and there's ongoing learning and development opportunities that will help you use your new skills to support people within your workplace. We also have a range of different forums and networks. So this is where groups of RCN members come together where they have a particular interest in an area of professional nursing practice. And there are over 30 different forums. So whatever your interest is, there's likely to be a forum that you can get involved with. And you can be a kind of a lay member and just get the updates on what the forum are doing. But then there's also opportunities to be elected in as a committee member on those forums too. So lots of different levels of engagement. And I've just highlighted there our Early Career Nurse Network. So we're going through a bit of a refresh at the moment and trying to make that as better opportunity as possible for you to get involved with. And it's a great space to network and connect with people who are also becoming new registrants and driving forward change for newly registered nurses. We know there are challenges, and how can we come together collectively to make that better for you? There's plenty of events and conferences going on at the RCN, and they are year round. So there are ones specifically for students. So we've got our Student Ambassador Conference and our Student Festival, both take place annually. But there's a range of other opportunities to get involved with. So there are in-person events, but there are also webinars as well. So it's really worth keeping an eye on our events page to see what's coming up or if there's something that takes your interest. I thought I'd just touch on Congress because I'm not long back from Liverpool. So Congress is our 4-day event. It takes place annually and it's part of our Royal Charter. It takes place in order to determine what our work will look like for the year ahead. So members come together and there's an opportunity to vote on different debates and matters for discussion that helps drive forward nursing practice. So it's a really good opportunity to get involved. And even some of our other ones, our research conference takes place in September and the education conference is every year in April. So some really valuable opportunities to get involved with. So hopefully that's just given you a bit of an overview of what the RCN can offer for you as you move from student into newly registered member. And there's a QR code here if you'd like to join, if you're not already a member. And I'm going to hand straight over to Debbie. Thank you.
Lovely. Thank you so much, Lorna, for your presentation. I'm delighted to be here today. I believe Miriam is just going to move the slides on. Hope that the students on the call have got lots of questions that we can ask shortly. So I'm Debbie Cubitt, as I've said, and I am one of the senior clinical managers. I'm a registered nurse and I work at NHS England in the east of England. And one of my roles is as the regional preceptorship lead. So in this presentation, I plan to explore, albeit briefly, what preceptorship is, what preceptorship isn't, and what it means for you as you come to the point of registering as an accountable registered professional. So the word preceptorship is quite a funny word, and it's not one that is used unless you're in healthcare. I've provided a definition of preceptorship on the screen for you to read, and I'll just give you a couple of minutes just to have a little bit of a read through that. You don't need me to read that to you, so just give you a few minutes to have a read. So the key words I'd like to point out to you are integrating newly registered professionals into their new team, translating and embedding knowledge into everyday practice, and enabling you to grow in confidence to have the best start in your careers. And I've put the links on there of the principles of preceptorship for both the Nursing and Midwifery Council and also for the HCPC as well. Thank you, Miriam. So I'd like to provide you with a bit of a history, if I may. So in 2023 to 2024, the National Interim Quality Mark for Nursing was designed. This provided a framework for preceptorship for nursing, and organisations could then apply for a quality mark to show their excellent practice. In our region, that's the East of England region, 24 or 84% of organisations achieved this award. Preceptorship frameworks for midwifery and allied health professionals were then designed, and there are now plans to bring all the frameworks together into a new national multi-professional preceptorship quality mark, which is just waiting sign-off by the NHS Chief Executive. Our practice development teams and preceptorship leads across the East of England work really hard for this award and continue to work to develop their programmes to meet your multi-professional needs on qualification. Their programmes are all different and you should be signed up to them when you commence in post. The logo above, which was on the previous slide, sorry, Miriam, shows the quality mark standard for nursing. So if you are a nurse and you're looking for this when you're applying for jobs, this is the logo that you're looking for. And a new logo will be designed when the multi-professional preceptorship quality mark is launched. It would, in my view, be really useful to ask at interview as one of your questions, what does your preceptorship programme offer me? Thank you, Miriam. This is us out and about, delivering a variety of conferences about the work we have undertaken to support preceptorship. And these are some of the regional preceptorship leads based in the organisations. Thank you, Miriam. My colleague Steve and we wrote an article called Investment in the Preceptorship Role is Fundamental to Supporting Early Career Nurses. And the reason why we wrote this was to celebrate what work the regional preceptorship leads have undertaken. They have come up with innovative designs of programmes in order to support newly qualified registrants. Thank you, Miriam. These are some of our preceptee voices. So a bit of a definition here. When you register as a newly qualified registrant, you become what we call a preceptee. But this does mean that you are a registered, accountable professional. This is not an additional it is an additional support mechanism for you. So these are some of the voices that our preceptees said about the preceptorship programme. Thank you, Miriam. So some key facts about preceptorship. So the eligibility criteria is for newly registered nurses, midwives, allied health professionals and healthcare practitioners typically qualify for what's called preceptorship. The programme is usually 12 months. A preceptee, as I've mentioned, is a new registrant who signs up for preceptorship. You should automatically be signed up for that when you join an organisation. A preceptor is each preceptee or yourselves is assigned to an experienced practitioner who provides guidance and support throughout the programme. Progress is monitored with supportive assessments focusing on development and confidence building, supportive of that transition from learner through to registration. Thank you, Miriam. So what preceptorship is not, clarifying misconceptions. We've done quite a lot of work multi-professionally, regionally lately with one university, and some students have become really quite confused about what preceptorship is. So we just want to clarify. Preceptorship is not a student placement. Preceptorship is for registered, accountable professionals, not students. It is different from student placements. It does not replace any training. It complements mandatory training, which is what happens when you are appointed in post as a newly qualified registrant. And it does not replace essential compliance, nor does it replace competency programs. It is also not performance management. The focus of preceptorship is to support and develop, and it is not for discipline or punitive measures. Thank you, Miriam. So what are the benefits of preceptorship? So the benefits are that it supports individuals and organisations, but ultimately improves patient care. That's what we're all here for. For new professionals, it boosts confidence, competence and supports safe practice. It can also support in reducing stress and burnout. Many of our programmes have the offer of support from a professional advocate. That is a registrant who has undertaken additional training to support through providing restorative clinical supervision to preceptees, that's the new registrant, to support them as they begin working as a registered accountable practitioner. For organisation, it improves patient safety, enhances quality of care and strengthens retention by supporting career development. Overall, it's a key investment in a skilled, resilient and engaging workforce. And it also supports, of course, your career development and retention. So I know that's a bit of a whistle-stop tour about preceptorship, but I hope that provides you with an overarching understanding of what preceptorship is and what preceptorship isn't. And I would be delighted to answer any questions on preceptorship. Thank you. And back to you, Miriam.
Thank you so much, Debbie, and thank you to all of my guest presenters for presenting today. We now have a short Q&A session. The first of the questions actually came from Esther, who I know has had to leave the webinar, but I'll pose this on behalf of Esther, if that's okay. Esther asks, as a nursing associate, do I need an interview before being registered by the NMC? So we'll pose that question to Wendy. Wendy.
Oh, really short answer. No, not with us, not with the NMC. If you have an employment interview, that's a matter for your employer. But there's not a requirement for your regulator to be involved with the interview process. Your employer should sort all of that out. My recommendation is when you signed up for your, and this is Nurse Me rather than NMC Me, I should say, when you signed up for the nursing associate, the registered nurse program, I'm assuming that you're an apprentice, please read that agreement very carefully in terms of what's expected of you on completion and your ongoing employment status. I hope that helps. Debbie,
Lovely.
does that work from your perspective? You might know more about the employment end than I do. Oh, yes, there we are.
You can see Debbie nodding along.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Wendy, for a very comprehensive answer. Ian, I have a question that was posed to by a student who's not actually on the webinar, but it's, if I don't have a post, should I still apply for my HCPC PIN, and why?
Yeah, I mean, you can absolutely apply for registration with HCPC, even if you haven't got a post. I mean, as to the why, I would say it means that if you see a post, you're already registered. So it means the whole process will be much quicker and more straightforward for you. Because if you imagine, if you weren't registered and you were eligible to be registered, but you weren't yet registered, and you had a job interview and they want you to start, let's say ASAP, you would then have to register with us, and that's going to take time. So it could delay your starting with your job. So that's the main reason I can think of. So I would say it's, you know, it's about sort of being ready registered, let's call it that. and that's good for your employment prospects. But ultimately that is a personal choice. I mean, I do go out and about and do training sessions for students and about becoming a health and care professional. And you know, some people aren't intending to look for work straight away, or some people say to me, oh, I'm going to live abroad for a while, do I still need to register, things like that. So people will have things going on in their lives which may be reasons why they don't register straight away. But for that particular question, yeah, that would be my response. I hope that's helpful. Thank you.
Absolutely, Ian. And a subsequent question that's actually been posed by Debbie, it's, do I need to have professional liability insurance when I qualify? And if so, why? Perhaps you and Lorna could respond to that, Ian.
Yeah, since my mic's already on, shall I go first? Is that
Please.
Right? Yeah, I touched on it in a presentation, but it's a really good question. So when you register with the HCPC, there are a number of declaration questions, and one of them is about professional indemnity. And I'm paraphrasing slightly, but the question is, well, the first one is, do you have indemnity insurance? So that's kind of yes or no. But then the other response is you can tick that box, yes or no, or you can tick the box that says, I do not have indemnity insurance at the moment, but I understand that I need to have it if and when I practice. So it doesn't preclude you from going on the register if you don't have it. And then, so just to add to that, I mean, if you then get an employed job, let's say in the NHS, you may, the indemnity cover you get as part of your job may be sufficient. But always check that, because as I said earlier, HCPC professions are so broad and wide ranging. There might be different advice on that. You might have to get additional indemnity insurance. Again, you might get that provided through a professional body, but again, not all professional bodies for HCPC registered professions include that in their registration. So it's about looking into that and finding out where you, if you need it.
Debbie's posed another question. If I qualify and I can't get a job as a band 5 nurse for my
Okay,
NMC pin?
I can take that one.
Thanks,
Firstly, Band 5 is an NHS role. It's not an MC regulated role. Other jobs for nurses do exist in social care and elsewhere. So, as a registered nurse, should I apply for my NMC pin, and why should I? Well, you don't have to if you don't want to. You do have 5 years to register with us. However, just like Ian said, and this is me with my nurse head on, if I had a nurse who I interviewed and was ready to go, who said, yes, it's been a few weeks since I qualified and I haven't been able to get a role yet, and I can and I've kept myself up to date, this is what I've read, this is what I've done, I'll be thinking, yeah, what a person to employ in my area. Can I take the associated question I often get asked for this one is, can I get a job as a support worker? The answer is, from a regulatory perspective, we can't tell you what jobs you can and can't do. You can get a job as a healthcare support worker. However, you need to be really, really clear with your employer on your role. I'm here to work as a healthcare support worker. I cannot get involved with any registered nurse activities. I'm here, and my role here, as I said, is support worker. However, you do need to recognise that if you're a registered nurse or registered nursing associate, you're working under the code at all times. So areas such as escalation of concerns, reporting around vulnerable people remains the same. You still have got that. You must under the code. And furthermore, acting under an emergency needs to be discussed with your employer, because that is part of our code. However, having no one to do the 6 o'clock jog round is not an emergency, if that makes sense. So you need to say clear blue water is between your nursing registered role and your support worker role.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
What jobs other than nursing midwifery can I pursue with my NMC pin? You need, if you want to practice under your with your registration, you need a role in which it's either explicit within your job description that you can work as a nurse or a midwife, and say nurses, you need the nursing qualification, midwifery, you need a midwifery qualification, or you can revalidate on a role that you rely on your skills, knowledge and experience as a registered nurse. I hope that answers that question.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Wendy. I see Ian has responded to one of the questions around length of time in order to get to the pin. How long does it take to get an NMC pin, Wendy? I think you did touch on it on your application, but roughly how long is the application process?
It's usually very quick, sometimes by return of email. It can be longer, and the reason it can be longer is if some more information is needed, or if it's gone to your junk email and and there's been that sort of connection issue. But usually it's very similar to the HCPC in that it's usually within 5 to 7 working days.
Excellent, thank you. Ian, do you need to say anything more about length of time for HCPC?
Yeah, I've just popped it in the chat there. I mean, the aim is to get it processed within 10 working days, so it sounds similar to what Wendy was saying, but yeah, and similar things can hold it up if they need more information, for example. I hope that answers that.
Absolutely, thank you. I can't see any other questions towards the end of this webinar. I do apologise if there has been some connection issues. I think it's probably the internet at my end. It's been quite hot and the computer does not appear to like it. In fact, I'm not able to share my slides again at the moment. Let's wait one more second to see if anything comes up, and it has done. Thank goodness for that. Okay, so I'm now just going to show you the last of the slides, which is the QR code. So hopefully if you're watching this in a pre-recorded manner, you have accessed this via the Healthcare Learner app. I guess we have a plea here in that you share this app with as many colleagues and peers as possible, other healthcare learners. Really encourage them to have a look at the wonderful resources that are on the app that can help support your transition to employment. There's also some really useful QR codes for you here. So all that's left for me to do now is to thank our wonderful speakers. So we had Wendy Fowler from the Nursing and Midwifery Council. Thank you so much, Wendy. Ian Spink from the Health and Care Professional Council, talking about AHPs. Thank you. And Lorna Males from the RCN, talking about professional guidance and support from the RCN. And my colleague, Debbie Cubitt, talking about preceptorship. So all things that are absolutely going to be vital for you once you qualify. All that's left for me to do then is say thank you very much for attending the webinar. Please do fill in this QR code, which is an evaluation of this session. And if you haven't already done so, please do download the other 5 Future Ready webinar series, which will help support you get the edge in terms of getting that job after you qualify. Thank you very much and take care.